Hi guys, welcome back to RTS Share Tea, where respiratory therapists live out loud. With me, your host, Linda Fry, the Asthma Lady. Yes, welcome everyone. Welcome to anyone new, and I'm back. I took a little pause after Asthma Awareness Month. For those of you who know me as the Asthma Lady, I am very busy, active, productive, and all those things with activities and speaking engagements. In the month of May, I usually need to take a break or a little pause, and then I get right back on it. So here we are today, and I'm super excited because I have a new guest co-host, and this one is amazing because he is a trailblazer, a pioneer in the respiratory care field. Yes. Hi, Daniel. So Daniel is here with us today. Well, before I let him do his thing as the guest co-host, I am going to read his bio and just let him take over the show. Okay. So Daniel Whitt is an Army veteran, a registered respiratory therapist, and an ECMO specialist. He is the Chief of Respiratory Care Services for the VA Maryland Healthcare System and currently serves as the Vice President of the National Board for Respiratory Care Board of Trustees and the current Chair of Maryland Board of Physicians Respiratory Care Professional Standards Board and the Frederick Community College of Health Professionals Respiratory Care Program Advisory Committee. Yes, Daniel is very busy, so we are very lucky to have him here today. Yes, Daniel, and I caught you. You working right now, huh?
Yep.
See
You got me.
So I got you. So we definitely appreciate you, and we just gonna get right into it. So we all have our story of how we got into respiratory. What is yours? Give us a picture of what your background is. I know you're an Army vet, and what drew you into the RT profession.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So again, so my journey is a little unique. Before I get into that, I'm gonna tell you all for your viewers. So I came across Linda last year sometime when I was looking to take my asthma educator examination, and she had a lot of content on YouTube and online. So I highly encourage you all, definitely go to her page, like and subscribe, and share her content. It's very helpful, inspiring, and motivating. But in terms of my story, so like I said, my journey's a little unique. So I was in the military and serving down there at Fort Sill, Oklahoma in the heat.
Okay.
Doing artillery work, and
Okay.
my recruiters sold me the dream on how I would travel the seas and see all these different things. But I ended up being, pretty much in rural America in the Midwest.
Wow.
So towards the end of my departure from the military, I saw respiratory care services as something that I could get into.
Okay.
It didn't really work out in Oklahoma, so I ended up coming back here to Baltimore and going to schools to becoming a medical assistant. So I stayed as a
Okay.
assistant while I worked my way through college for respiratory care. So after I graduated respiratory care, I immediately started work at the University of Maryland School of Medicine
Mm-hmm.
medical center over there, where I worked for some time practicing as an RT and slowly got into ECMO and met a lot of other great people in the field and the profession. And
Right.
took a job in 2019 over here at the VA Maryland Healthcare Center.
Okay.
And I've been doing that for the last couple of years through COVID and everything else that we've been experiencing. And
Yes.
it's really been an interesting time in kind of leading these folks over here, and I enjoy it. And it's part of a huge healthcare system, as you know.
Right.
We have
Huge.
several RTs that are highly engaged in our profession. So we're excited about that. Yep. So that's
Okay.
pretty much my journey in a nutshell.
Okay.
Still
I mean, yes. So, but it makes sense as an Army veteran. I mean,
going.
I would imagine you have a connection, and that's
Oh
what
yeah,
drew you
absolutely.
to the
Yeah.
VA, right? That makes a whole lot of
It
sense to
certainly
me.
certainly made it easier.
Right. I would.
That structure was there and existed in both places, both in the military and then on the government side, working for the VA. Yeah.
I love it. Excellent. Okay, so thank you for sharing that. And so with that being said, so what motivated you? So because we're gonna go into this APRT role. So right. So the Advanced Practice Respiratory Therapist role.
Yeah.
That's the acronym. Okay, making sure I'm saying it right. So what gave you the aha moment to create this role and to create like the functional job description and to say that we need this here? What, and then with that, what were the challenges to bringing that to fruition?
Well, so I can't take a lot of credit for the APRT concept itself, but
Okay.
I will say I do appreciate you having me on the show and able to talk and speak to it, because the APRT is a bit nebulous to some folks, right? Even RTs that are
Yes.
out there practicing, they're like, APRT, well, what's
What
that?
is that?
Yeah,
Right.
like what
Right.
exactly are they doing? So so it's great that we're able to come on platforms like this and hit the speaking circuit and talk about the advanced practice respiratory therapist. So for me, it was really just being surrounded by individuals, professionals, intellectuals in the field of respiratory medicine and pulmonary care, specifically the NBRC, the ARC, and
Okay.
some of the other like cohort that was out there, and they were talking
Mm-hmm.
about the APRT effort. And there were a lot of individuals that went into that
Okay.
from the ARC, the NBRC, the other stakeholders.
All right.
They got
Shout
together.
out to
Yep.
them. Shout out to them.
The Ohio
Mm-hmm.
State University. So these individuals they came together and they came up with a framework and a plan. And so I like to think of myself as a facilitator, somebody
Okay.
boots on the
Okay.
ground.
Oh yes.
um,
Okay. So
uh,
you am I to say a catalyst? Like you kind of was like the person.
just for the VHA side.
Okay.
There's
I
still
give you that.
there's still
Yeah.
a lot of work being done in the private sector in both Ohio and North Carolina.
Okay.
So when I started this kind of effort in this process, I reached out to Dr. Server, coaches from Ohio State, and then some Drs. David Vines and other stakeholders on the NBRC, as well as Dr. Bill Croft, and all of them were
Okay.
instrumental in kind of developing the functional duties of the APRT.
Okay.
Again, me not having a lot of experience with that, so I needed to really rely on experts and
Okay.
subject matter experts
So
regarding this.
you called, okay, so you the Nick Fury. That's what I call it. The
Yeah,
Avengers. Like,
could
okay.
be.
So
Yeah, yeah.
I give you that. So you're
That's
the
one way to
Nick
put it.
Fury. You got
Mhm.
the Avengers together. You got the folks who are, experts, and you got them together to
Right.
rally
And,
up to do this
mhm.
position.
and
Love
they
it.
and they and they have been working with this for some time, right? So
Okay.
they had a very comprehensive understanding of what they were trying to do, where they saw the role, the position, and that was great. It worked out, and it aligned with a lot of the things that the VA was trying to do, and
Okay.
I'll say the VHA, Veterans Health Administration. So it was good, and we and I will say this to folks who are considering doing a similar effort is you need to identify a need, right? And there was a need, a unique need, especially coming off of the tail end of COVID for an advanced
Mm-hmm.
practice respiratory therapist, and so we were able to leverage that here at Vision 5. I went all the way up to my leadership. I proposed the idea to them, and they were relatively supportive of it, and
Okay.
told me
That's
to
a
take it.
blessing.
Yeah, right. Told me to
Right.
take it back to the medical center. Now there were challenges, and I suppose we'll get into that. But
Mhm.
took it back to the medical center, and we were able to kind of move it forward. And I mean, it moved, Linda. It really moved,
I
really fast.
see. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it did feel like it came out of nowhere, but I would imagine, like you said, it took its time. Like the NBRC, ARC, like these folks, they've been speaking about it for a while.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then what you got a snowball, like it
Yeah.
started once the
Exactly. Exactly.
momentum came in,
Hmm.
you guys were good to go.
And we still have it, and we still have the momentum. We're still doing things.
Yes, I
We're
see that.
still trying to, we're still moving the profession forward. So yeah, I mean, it really worked out. I can't say enough, how grateful I am to those subject matter experts, those people that helped me
Yes.
build the functional statement, which is effectively the job description.
Yeah.
Was able to take that back to my leadership. We got the announcement put online and posted,
Okay.
and you
For the
saw it go
job.
out across USA Jobs as the advanced practice respiratory therapist. And we had several people that were interested in that role in that position, but we were very deliberate on the type of individual we wanted to see, right? So this would
Mm-hmm.
have been respiratory therapists who have received a
Mm-hmm.
graduate education in advanced practice. Currently, Ohio State
It's
is the
the
only
only, oh
facility
my,
that's offering that education.
right,
Right, right. So, and having that person, trained and have the knowledge, skills, ability, aptitude to really do the job was real important. And as you can see, that produced several APRT graduates, one of which was Mindy Conklin.
right. Mindy,
As
love
a,
her,
yeah,
seeing
she's
her
great.
journey.
She's
Uh-huh,
great. Yep.
uh-huh.
And we hired a second, Daniel
I saw
Thacker.
that.
Yep.
Okay, okay.
So we
So
have two
we
practicing
got
APRT.
two
We got two.
in the
Two.
United States. Okay, okay.
See,
So
well, more to
we,
follow. Yep.
right, okay. That's it. That's it. So we have to hear stuff like this because I feel like in our profession is still relatively young compared to
Oh, yeah.
others
Yep.
in the healthcare field. And I think this is it's so inspiring to see us in this capacity because it gives us hope, like, okay, for what's to come. So it's really
Yeah.
good to
Yeah,
see.
and it's
Mm-hmm.
really great. You have people out there who are impressionable. They're trying to find a career path, and
Yes.
they're looking for something to do. And then you have people who are already in the field, right, in the profession, and they're
Mm-hmm.
looking to get a terminal degree of sorts, and they're trying to figure out what the next step would be for them. So, advanced practice respiratory therapist would be that next step, and we want to
It's an
see that
option.
fully implemented, and replicated across the United States. We believe
Mm-hmm.
it's value there, and I think patients are better served by it. You have a respiratory therapist skilled and trained in specialty care, and cardiopulmonary health, and what more could you ask for, right? You've had other individuals on your show, and again, I monitor it, and like my good friend Kim, and then Joe Lewis.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you have that level of expertise from an advanced practice respiratory therapist, and again, patients are better served
Amazing.
by it, and we'll see where it goes. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Very, very is exciting time. So it's just exciting to see this. And like we said, it's one of those, we are a product of our environment. So
Hmm.
if you see
Yep.
people really thriving and shining bright in these positions, it really does inspire, because to me it doesn't have to be one or two. Why not just get a
Why not?
bunch?
Why not hundreds, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm, I don't mind if there's a bunch of the
Yep. Yep.
asthma ladies, so I think that's
There's
why
only
we're
one
doing
Linda.
this. Right, right. But you have to understand why Joe do what he do and what I
Yep.
do, and
Yep.
the Mindys and you, and just all Kim, and because we want to see more of us out there, especially and make it diverse. So I love the
Yep.
fact that
Absolutely.
Mindy is a woman
Yep.
trailblazing.
Hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? So, and just seeing that, because we all know, respiratory has been a male dominated field for a long time, no offense, Daniel.
No, no, I
So
get. Hey, I get it. In the breakthrough, we love it. We love to see it.
yes,
It's
love to see it. Okay, so with us talking about the APRT role, so for our listeners who may not be familiar with this, and you did say a little bit of what it is, so what exactly is an advanced practice respiratory therapist? What does that, like, you don't have to give us the nitty gritty, but what does
Mhm.
that look like uh in
Okay.
general?
Yeah, and it's a great question. Again, we talked about it at the top. A lot of
Mhm.
people are thinking, "Wow, what is that?"
Right.
And it can be nebulous, and it could be kind of like, Well, again, so an advanced practice respiratory therapist would serve as a physician extender, much
Okay.
like your physician associate, formerly called physician assistants,
Assistant.
or
Okay.
your nurse practitioners, right? Um, where they differ from the resident respiratory therapist is the level of training, the academic requirements, the autonomy given to the APRT by means of prescribing authority, and
Mm-hmm.
being able to
Yes.
order different modalities, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And that's real
Amen.
important, right? So the APRT needs to be able to really manage the total whole health of a
As
patient,
patient.
and they're trained to do that. And that's not to
Love
say
it.
that there are RTs that aren't trained to provide that level of care,
Mm-hmm.
but we're saying that is the distinction between the APRT and the registered respiratory therapist. Now, when you go into sort of like the functions and the duties of advanced practice respiratory therapist, you'll find them in a variety of settings, right? Both
Mhm.
ambulatory and acute care,
Right.
uh,
Depends on
at
the
the
setting.
at the bedside doing bronchoscopies,
Okay.
thoracentesis, chest tube insertion, etc. In addition to some of the other interventions that are relatively within the scope of the RRT, that would be your intubations and your
Right.
arterial lines, etc. So you have there a scope of practice that is extended beyond that of the RRT, right? And
Right.
that level of autonomy that is given to the APRT to perform those tasks and those interventions on the behalf of a collaborating physician, right, or alongside them.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So we can make an order. We can put the order in under our own name.
Exactly.
I see.
And I'm glad you said it
So,
that way, Linda, because so the way this would look, right, if you had to kind of envision this, right, and kind of map out this process, is you would have your APRT who say for whatever reason needs a pulmonary function test or 6 minute
mhm,
walk or ABG, they would put that order in. That order would be transmitted to the RT, and they can work in tandem together to ensure that that patient gets that care, right? Or maybe that
mhm.
patient needs um, some other type of intervention outside of the realm of the registered respiratory therapist, that APRT can place that order to modify a diet or
Mhm.
perhaps add an
Okay.
additional medication there for to treat an infection, etc. So you do have that
Okay.
again, that level of autonomy, and they're not out there alone. We don't throw them to the wolves. They have a supervising and collaborating physician there with them. They can lean on
Okay.
how to.
I was gonna ask that question. I was like, so who would be your supervisor? Is it the RT, like the respiratory department, or is it the physician?
Mhm.
Right.
Oh yeah. So here I can tell you the way it's laid out administratively. That falls to me as the chief of the section.
Okay.
But in terms of the medical and the clinical aspect, Mindy reports up to a pulmonary provider.
I see. So it's like a dual. Okay. So I get it, because I kind of had a unique role like that where like I was hired as a registered respiratory therapist,
Mhm.
but I was technically, because I was a clinical, like I was an administrative, so my position was under the chief of medicine. So
Mm,
right. So it was one of those unique roles where I was not I wasn't specifically under the respiratory care department.
okay.
So it
So
was
your
like a
organization,
hybrid. Yeah,
yeah.
it kind
So,
of did like a
mhm.
dual thing. So I had like basically I had a lot of captains that I reported to. I
Yeah,
had to
that
make a
is,
lot of people happy.
I'm gonna
So
tell you, that sounds like an organizational, kind of departure. Yeah, typically what you see is the respiratory therapist will report up to like a frontline supervisor, then up to a manager or a director.
right.
And again, here it's sort of branches, right? So the
Mm-hmm.
administrative duties, which would be sort of like your leave and everything else that needs to
Mm-hmm.
happen on the administrative side, that's something that I would handle and manage. But then you have the clinical side of things, 'cause for the most part, relatively speaking, that the APRT is autonomous, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
but again, there's times where that level of supervision and collaboration needs to be in place,
Oh yeah,
and
definitely.
that's when we
The
lean on
pulmonary team.
rely on the pulmonary team to do that. Mhm.
Gotcha. Okay. So no, this is good stuff, because like I said, I think APRT position, that role was kind of like abstracty. Like it's like we are hearing about
Mhm.
it, but just trying to glue everything together on how that works. So this is really good, meaty information. I love it. Okay, so looking ahead, how do you envision the role of the APRT evolving over the next couple of years? I mean, I know we're relatively new, so we're still in the beginning. So
Right.
it's a lot of room to grow. Like, so where do you see this going?
Well, I like to think the outlook is good, and certainly
Okay.
we'd like to see the role evolve into um, different settings outside of acute care and ambulatory. Maybe home-based primary care is one of those things that we're
Mm-hmm.
looking at.
Okay.
I think though, there's a few things that need to happen first before we get there, And I was going to talk about that towards the end, but I'll insert it now. So one, we really need to see more RTs, right? So this just
Hello.
more look.
Like,
I'm
let's
sorry.
make sense. Gotta make
It doesn't
sense.
work without respiratory therapists, so we need more
We need
RT.
more.
And that's number one.
I'm
But
tired.
once we get there, we get our pool and we become bigger as a profession. I think we're gonna see robust growth across all different types of specialties, to include
Yes.
APRT. So yeah, I definitely see a role or some evolution there. Looking at practice patterns, looking at outcome data, looking at
Mm-hmm.
patient satisfaction scores. These
Yes.
types of things will kind of help inform the growth of the evolution of the APRT. I think once we have that, the samples pool is pretty small now with only 2 practicing.
Right,
But
right,
once we
right.
get beyond that, then we can have some meaningful data. We can go back and look and say, okay, here are the gaps. This is what we need to focus
Mm,
on, and we can kind of have a target, if you will, on where we want to see and how we want to see it evolve. I will say in the
yes.
BHA, I can't speak for the Veterans Health Administration, but I will say that I'd like to see more involvement with home-based primary care, uh,
Okay.
being able to send APRT out to the home,
Mm-hmm.
maybe wean the ventilator at the home, or
I'm telling you, it's
deliver.
different.
Yeah, yeah.
As someone that's gone to patient homes to,
Mhm,
provide services in asthma, maintenance and
mhm.
asthma
Yeah,
education, it's just the way the patient acts at home is totally different
totally
than
different.
what we see in the clinics and the, ambulatory care space, the
Yeah,
ER inpatient
absolutely.
unit. It's just different. So yeah, I totally agree to see
Mhm.
folks get them in the homes.
Get
Yes,
them in the homes. Yeah, yeah.
get them in the homes. And we
I
all
mean,
know,
physical therapy doing it, right? Occupational therapy, they're out in the home.
yeah,
You have your
making
nurses,
house
your nurse
calls.
practitioners.
Right,
Yeah,
right, right, right. Why
it's our
not?
time. We're next.
Okay, okay. No, I love it. I love options. And I
Yeah.
think this is what it is. With respiratory, I think that's what a lot of folks are looking for, are just like these branches and options. Because I think folks oftentimes they think like, okay, well, I want to grow. The only option is management. And unfortunately, some folks don't feel like that's the path they want to go. So they kind of feel
Exactly.
stuck. And you never want to feel stuck,
Mhm,
so I like the fact that, and I think that's what this role does for me is I see potential, I see
mhm,
options, I see
mhm.
hope, I see growth. So it's good.
And you get to
It's a
stay
good thing.
connected clinically, so you're not in the realm of research or, like you stated,
Mm-hmm.
management or academia. You
Yes.
can stay,
Yes.
in touch and clinically.
Still at the
Yeah,
bedside, but doing it in another manner. So I like that. And I like the fact that I could put in, that's what I'm waiting for. I want to be able to do my own telehealth. I want to be able to put in my own orders. I'm telling you. So I might be,
yeah.
I might be on that APRT. So we'll see. I don't know. See what the future looking like. So okay. So with that being said, so yeah, what advice would you offer to other respiratory therapists who are looking to advance in their careers or innovate in their field? So this is basically what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
And I've had a few episodes around this, but I want to hear it from you.
Oh,
What
yeah.
do
So
you
certainly by
have?
way of advice, I would say, one, be involved. You know, uh, if you're not an AARC member, consider membership. I would even, endorse, just go out and be a member. Now that's challenging, right? Because some people would say, and RTs have said this, well, what is the AARC doing for me? Uh, Call me up,
Right,
reach out to me, and I can let you know what the AARC is doing for
right,
me.
right, right.
Mindy is an example of that. You are an example of that.
Yeah.
And we see, and we can show the benefit of membership. Second to that, talk to people about the profession.
Mhm.
Um, there is a need for more RTs, and I can't
Yes.
state that enough. None of this works without respiratory therapists. I encourage people to go to morerts.com, or again, reach out to me. I certainly could talk to you about the benefit of having, or looking at a career in respiratory therapy. Uh, and then
Hmm.
embracing innovation and diverse thought So those are always things you should do. Be an active
Yes.
listener.
Yes. Think
Certainly
outside the
think
box.
outside the box. If a good
Mm-hmm.
idea comes across or you think it's a good idea, there are no wrong answers. Just, either act on them or talk to or reach out to somebody, a key opinion leader or someone that could help you kind of move you in the direction of where you think the profession should go, or if you have any good ideas, just put them out there in the universe and maybe you'll just get a wink back or something like that. I think those
Mm-hmm.
things would help you, because if you don't, you end up just kind of, not doing anything. And,
Right.
you could be a gym and, nobody will see
Well,
you
nobody
shine,
would
right?
know. Right.
Nobody would know.
Right.
So, that's what I encourage people to do. Obviously there's other things like, in education
Oh,
and,
yeah.
getting work experience. Those are all important as well. But
Mm-hmm.
certainly get out there, go to conferences, again,
Mm-hmm.
membership, and then try to bring more people into the profession, so we can all grow together. And
Amen.
yeah, that's what happened for me, and it seemed to be a good recipe. So yeah.
Yes, yes. And I can echo the same thing. And like I said, as the host, I've mentioned all those type of things.
Mhm.
And even the networking. Look, I met you. I didn't know you
Yeah.
from anywhere.
Yeah.
And here we are, and we bump into each other a lot
Mhm.
at these conferences and events. And we're just like, it's just good to have folks like you in the network. And like you said, like to bounce off thoughts, and like just having like-minded people around you really does sharpen, you
Yeah.
know, who you are, and gets you to where you need to be. So amazing. I totally agree. Daniel, this is amazing. You gave me some
Uh,
good
Now look,
some
I'm gonna tell, but
good
I will
information
say
today.
it wasn't all easy, and
It's
nobody ever told me it
never
would be. Yep,
eh,
I remember hearing that coming up. Nobody ever said it would be easy, and like you said, going back to the top, I did have some challenges. We're talking about money and people
oh
and
yeah,
personnel, and this worked, and I'm grateful for that. But there were some challenges. There were some
of
headaches, some
course.
long nights,
Oh
and
yeah. Oh, I can name.
trying to get the salary right, and
Yeah.
um, you know,
Let's
uh,
see.
going to the board and talking to them about going to the medical board and speaking to them
Uh-huh.
about the
Bracing
scope of
yourself
practice.
before the
Yep,
meeting.
yep.
Like, let me make sure I got my data straight. Let me
Make
make
sure
sure
you got
I
everything.
have,
Yep.
whew, oh man,
Yeah.
I know. Make sure I got the right suit on to
Uh-huh.
say what
Uh-huh.
I gotta say.
It was an interesting, very journey, and yeah.
Trust me, I get it. But look at you now. Look at where we are. Look at what you have done. You and Mindy and that whole team are doing great. So I just love to see everything that you're doing. So Daniel, feel free to plug away. Plug away. What do you have? Do you have anything going on? How do you want us to find you? If we, plug. What's going on?
Well, I don't. I have a digital presence, but I don't really have like a social media profile. You can find me certainly on LinkedIn and
Oh,
Facebook, at my name, Daniel Whitt.
yes.
So those are probably the easiest ways to find me, or
Uh-huh.
reach out. And a lot of people, I'm pretty involved in the ARC's kind of effort to, one of their
Okay.
strategic goals to kind of move the profession forward and advance the profession. Certainly, I'm still serving time with the National Board for Respiratory Care. So I intend to continue that work. So I'm out there.
You out there. Yes,
I'm
you
not. I'm
are.
not
You
hiding from
busy.
anybody. I'm hopeful that we can again, produce some data for others that are considering either
Well,
starting their own APRT kind of
okay.
program, or those that are interested to know more about the advanced practice respiratory therapist. We want to
Mm-hmm.
see involvement and engagement. People going back to their legislators,
Okay.
talking to program directors, and considering what an advanced practice respiratory therapist can
Mm-hmm. The
do and
value.
benefit, how it can benefit, um, state affiliates. So I think, yeah, being involved, going to morerts.com, certainly being a member. I don't want to overstate that, but that's important. That's really important. And that'll help us all as respiratory therapists, help us move the
Right.
profession to where we needed to go. And yeah.
Yes. And I like the direction they're going. So there's a lot of work to do, but the AARC and MBRC, I can see right now that they are being proactive, and I like the direction that they're going in. So it's good.
I do have one more, Linda.
Okay.
As I know, you're going to be speaking at Summer Forum.
Right.
So
That's right.
if you're watching this podcast, please, please, please come out to Snowbird, Utah.
Oh, yes. That's going to be my first time in Utah. I'm only there for one day, but I'll see what I can see and link up with who I can link up with. So
you have a pretty big speaking circuit too. I know you speak a lot.
We
were just down in
tired,
Texas.
but it's exciting. Yes. I'm happy. And I'm getting to see you guys. So excellent time. But Daniel, I don't want to keep you. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you. And like I said, you dropped some true gems. I'm going to leave your information in the description. So for those that have more questions, they can reach out to you, because like we said, you're very involved and you are the Nick Fury of this whole movement. I'm sticking to that analogy. Yeah, I'm sticking to it. So yes, the Nick Fury. So yes, guys, thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you, Daniel, again for being here with us. Just remember that we are here every Wednesday, unless I'm on vacation. We are here every Wednesday on most podcast platforms, and we are on YouTube on Thursdays. There are so much more to come, and we are growing together. Thank you, guys. And remember to invest in yourself and to only compete with yesterday's version of you. I'll see you next time.